So, Odile, what would you say are some of the challenges faced by organizations when implementing the lean portfolio management? I have been involved in organizations where implementing it in the operations has been challenging. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, sure. I've got lots of war stories about that. And actually, I would like to focus on 2 points.
All right.
The first one is lean portfolio in name only. It's just like, okay, we change all the terms. So we've got the epic owners, we've got the epics, we've got the strategic portfolio review events. We've got all the stuff, but actually it's just like a wolf in a sheep's clothing, you know. It's just like the names have changed, but we haven't changed at all the mentality, the things that we're doing. So instead of doing projects, we do epics, but there is no hypothesis statement. We're still going to invest a lot of money, and then when the teams are finished, then we don't learn anything, and we don't calculate the ROI, so we're not really doing that. So I think that's a very real challenge and a real danger, because we see that a lot. And recently I was helping one of our clients, and they're, you know, when they told me like, oh, but we've got epic owners, I say, brilliant, I would like to meet them, you know, talk with them. And then I discovered, no, they're just project managers. They got the fancy name, but actually they're still in the stuff. For instance, when they say, oh yeah, participatory budgeting, yeah, we do that. I say, oh, show me, I mean, how you discuss that. I say, well, we do it once a year, but that's not participatory budgeting. So I think that's a real challenge, because it's not by changing the things that you're going to go very deep. And then the second one I mentioned is the participatory budgeting. This is the El Dorado of a lot of companies. It's all about, you know, decentralized decision making, the collective intelligence of the people together, and really making the decision. And I think this is very difficult for a lot of companies, because the leaders might think that they are losing their power. If you give the information with all the necessary elements, you have clear rules of engagement on how to share the pot of gold and make those trade-offs together, then they feel that they don't have anything to contribute. And the fact that it asks a lot about the lean and agile mindset, and also the power of execution, I feel that the participatory budgeting for a lot of companies, it's still too difficult, or they don't dare, because they think that it's going to create chaos, you know, that there will be no decision at the end, and people will not be aligned, or they think this is really like something that they don't want to relinquish to the people on the work floor, because then they will feel like, okay, but what's my role actually? Because I like to allocate, I like to do those things. And a good friend of mine, also an SPCT, used to say that it's not like Advil management. You know, when you've got a headache, I don't know if you've got Advil in pills in England, but you take the decision, whereas you don't have all the information, and sometimes they are the wrong decision. But because you've got the title, you know, then people will follow you, and when you start executing, this is when you get into trouble. So I would say, but there are many more, but I would say, you know, the two big ones that we see and the ones that are the most problematic are those ones. So in name only, we just change the names and hey, we are Agile, and the participatory budgeting.
Interesting. Name only, participatory budgeting. I like the first one, name only, because you can always have a sheep in a wolf skin. Or a wolf in the sheepskin. Both, you have to be wary of them. And Joshua, I think you led us into this interesting. Are there any other challenges from your experience?
Oh, there are countless battle scars that I can call on. funnily enough, when I thought about this question, the first one Odile spoke about was the top thing for me, and I coined it reskinning what you do. So reskinning what you do to say it's a lean portfolio management or agility. I probably will re-emphasize on that, because for me that's probably like the biggest challenge I have seen to LPM actually being executed or implemented successfully. Is a lot of us tend to reskin what we have. So epic owners, like Odile says, you go in, do they actually have the ownership of resources? Can they actually move things from left to right? Can they move the dial? No, they always have to ask somebody else. They can't really assign resources to refine stuff. They don't have the authority that we are looking for. That's a big one. But since Odile has stolen my thunder on that particular challenge, another one I will raise up in addition to that is thinking that LPM is just the portfolio manager or the solution or system architect or your product management executive, thinking it's three people. So we spoke about roles in LPM earlier, and I'll just say one of the challenges I've seen is trying to fit individuals into the respective roles, whereas they are functions or they are groups of people, you know. So your business owner might not be just one individual, but it could be multiple stakeholders who have the say or the ability or the power to fund and make strategic decisions. So that's one of the other challenges I've seen, is people trying to, you know, put a square peg in a round hole, is fit everybody into one specific role. So you were a program manager before, you become portfolio manager. You were a PM before, you become a business owner, an epic owner. You were our product, you become the product manager. But forgetting that it's a collaborative effort. So you might need multiple stakeholders. You might need the whole management layer to play that executive role. You will need probably an architecture function to play that system architecture overall, providing you the architectural roadmap for your organization. Product management, not one person, but a management community playing that role to drive the obviously somebody has to sit at the top at the executive level, but then it's a collaborative approach, and it's not just 3 people or 4 people that run the whole portfolio. That any portfolio I see like that or automatically tells me is probably on the path to failure.
Well, I think with the topic of challenges, it gives us all memories, and like the word you said, the battle scars. Odile also touched on one that organizations are struggling with, and that is a whole topic that could take us on a webinar. Odile, can you touch on the impact of participatory budgeting at a high level? And when we are lucky to have you again, we can dissect the topic on budgeting.
So I think, again, the participatory budgeting, the collective intelligence of the many actors and stakeholders, having a clear understanding of, hey, this is our budget, this is how much money we can spend, these are all the initiatives that we need to get started on. Let's have a discussion on knowing what the objectives are of your organization. How do we want to allocate the budget? So participatory budgeting is not to decide on the budget, but how we're going to put the money and which initiatives are we going to go for, which initiative are we going to partially fund, and which one we're not even going to touch because it does not align with our vision and we need to do some other stuff. So I think this is the beauty and the power of participatory budgeting, really having those discussions. Obviously, when you've got people with different stakes, different views, different, for instance, solution or development value stream in your portfolio, then trust that they will have, because they are aligned on the objective, trust that they will make the right trade-off. They will have the right conversation. And I think that's one of the challenges, people do not trust that the people can discuss and have a really powerful discussion and make the right trade-off. And I think that is really, there are two magical things in SAFE. It's the PI planning, also the collective intelligence of the people on the train, and the participatory budgeting with the collective intelligence of the people deciding on the allocation of the budget. So this is going to be very important. Also, when you do participatory budgeting, do it in the way that you've got increments. So you present the roadmap of initiatives, you ask the EPIC owners to present stuff, then you get an interaction, and then you split the groups into tables. You've got clear guidelines, a roadmap, and everything. Everything is there. They can also interact with the people. And then they can have guardrails as well on how to deal with people that do not agree, how to get alignment. And then after maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, then get them to present their understanding, make sure that it's aligned again, and then they can go for another round. And then in the end, they present their ideas. And then, this is very important, we don't need to have a decision right after the participatory budgeting, because what we need to have is the LPM to collect all the information to see if there are alignment, if there are differences, and then to make the decision based on the collective intelligence that has been gathered. So I think this is very important, and I truly believe that organizations that have already done a lot of PI planning events with good RTEs, Scrum Masters, they can also leverage this knowledge and this facilitation to make sure that it happens. And you again trust the people. If you educate them, tell them what's the purpose, and you coach them, guide them during this decision, I'm pretty sure that, and so far I've always seen that, I've never seen an LPM completely refute the collective intelligence and start from scratch. There's always a baseline that is done by those people because they know way more than, for instance, the LPM, and then they are able to catch on that one. So I think that's very important.
Thank you, Odile. And budgeting is something that is so close to my heart, and I would like to spend another full session with you and Josh for us to just dissect that particular area and challenge that many organizations face. And